The biggest mistake that people make when moving to Washington is believing that the Mariners are ever going to play in the World Series. 3 outs away, we didn't make it, here we go again. So if you think that someday they're going to win it all, I'm sorry.
Don't worry, we are not talking about the Mariners the entire video. And really, there are some big mistakes that you can make besides believing the Mariners are going to go to the World Series. And we want to introduce you to those and help you integrate, not just move to another place, but really make that place your home.
We're Joe and Charity, we're local realtors, and we help people just like you make informed decisions about moving to Washington State and specifically the South Puget Sound area.
Now, the number one biggest mistake that people make in the first month of moving here is failing to find your tribe.
What we've noticed helping people move to the area, it is very similar to like when you get a new job. Those first 2 weeks of a new job, you get to reinvent yourself or show up how you really want to be and begin to create the life or the job that you've always wanted. It really does apply the same way when you move into the new area. You're discombobulated, you don't have all of the restaurants dialed in that you want, or the grocery stores, or the activities that you're used to doing, or the community, whether it be in church or local nonprofits that you like to involve yourself in. So many things are up in the area, and that's a great thing because now you get to decide which ones you want to be a part of. And if you act quickly, especially during those first few months, it's going to turn out wonderful for you.
So here's some recommendation for things you need to do to find your tribe in the first month. First thing you need to do is going to be centered around food. Now, aren't we all happy about that? It shows the food is our favorite, but you need to find some local restaurants. Don't go to Applebee's, sorry Applebee's. Don't go to any of the chain restaurants. Find some good local restaurants and even ask questions while you're there. Get to know the owners. They're usually there working their tails off. And just enjoy the food for one, which is probably different from where you're coming from, but enjoy the people around the food and the stories that they have to share.
Something that I recommend that doesn't happen a lot in today's day and age is get to know your neighbors and bake them cookies if you want to, or brownies or whatever you got, or just have people over for cocktails on a Friday night just to say, hey, I'm new, I wanted to know who my neighbors are in case anybody needs help. Those type of environments, and we've done it in our neighborhood as well when we moved into a new neighborhood in the Olympia area, is there's a Christmas walk and we went from one house to the next just having food and drinks and getting to know our neighbors. And it's great because now we know them all, we wave by them, we discovered some of them are artists. It's a wonderful way just to touch base and have a good sense of community in the place you live.
Yeah, I know if you think about back in the olden days, it used to be that neighbors would be the ones bringing over the cookies, but I think it would be great to just initiate that and you be the one who goes out and meets the neighbors, and people are going to really appreciate that, and you're going to find some really, really friendly people, I promise. So next thing we recommend that you do during that first month to really find your tribe is to get involved with a community group. And for some, that's going to be a church or a mosque or a synagogue, but for others, it's going to be an activity related thing, like you're an artist or you're a swimmer or you're a hiker. There's so many groups on Facebook that are pinpointed to the area that you are locally. So find those groups, get involved maybe on Meetup. That's another platform where you can find groups of interest. Finding your tribe is really going to be about getting to know people. So utilize all those resources so that you don't sit home alone and waste that first month.
The next mistake we've seen some of our clients make happens around that 6-month mark. And that is you get too comfortable and you stay in your comfort zone and don't get out of just your basic neighborhood or to the office and home. So we really encourage people to get out of their area. So before you move here, you probably have a bucket list of things that you'd want to do if you ever decided to move to Washington State. Well, here's the thing. Once you're here, do them within that first 6 months. If you wanted to go whitewater rafting, go whitewater rafting. If you wanted to go up the Space Needle, go up the Space Needle and do touristy things. If you wanted to go to Pike's Place Market, go there. If you want to go to a Mariners game, I'm really sorry, it's going to be disappointing. If you're going to Seahawks or a Sounders game, whatever it might be, salmon fishing, hiking, going up to the top of Mount Rainier, make that happen in your first 6 months because that is going to get you really integrated into the community and make you appreciate all the beautiful, wonderful things that the Northwest has to offer.
Yeah, I think it is very common for us to just get comfortable. We find our home, we get all moved in, we get cozy, we go to work, we come home, we go to work, we come home on the weekends, we do laundry, we do groceries. Now you know our schedule. That can happen. And so really getting out of your comfort zone is so important. So these are the 3 things that we recommend that you do within the first 6 months. And the first thing, it has everything to do with Washington, and it is get outside. And there's two ways to do that. The first way is on the water.
Yeah, absolutely. You could be paddleboarding, you could kayak, you could go fishing, you could go on a ferry. If you're in the Puget Sound area, I think that is one of the most unique, charming things about the Puget Sound area is the ferries. Sometimes I just like to ride on just because it's just contemplative and beautiful and just out on the water and seems so northwesty. And of course, it's not just the Puget Sound area. There is water all over the state, whether it be lakes or rivers or reservoirs. It is so much to offer all the way across this beautiful state.
I absolutely love getting on a jet ski, and there are so many lakes around here that you can do that. And on the other side, I love getting in a kayak and just having a peaceful paddle around the lake or the Puget Sound. And if you're into fishing, or if you don't even know if you're into fishing yet, Joe can give you a few tips.
That's hilarious.
So many rivers and so many lakes here. Like, there's no excuse not to get on the water.
And while you're out there enjoying the water, well, you might want to get off and just enjoy the thousands of miles of hikes and trails and forest lands and beaches and mountains and volcanoes. I mean, we just have it all in this state that you could explore for years and never do the same thing twice.
I have a client who actually moved here just a couple years ago, and I'm friends with her on Facebook, and she's done more things than anybody I know that lives here locally. It seems like every weekend she's got a post of something throughout Washington State. She's like the poster child for getting out of your comfort zone and exploring the state. It's been so fun to watch all the joy that she gets from exploring all the beautiful regions in our area.
And the next thing you might want to consider is exploring all the local festivals. Now, every region in Washington State has some wonderful festival that happens depending on what season of the year it is. That could be from just small things at a farmer's market to large state fairs to large concerts to whatever it might be. There is a lot happening here for sure.
Yeah, we think about just where we live in Olympia, and there's an availability all year round. Summer, of course, because the weather is great, there's a lot more events and festivals. We like to go things like art walk and food festivals. I mean, I think almost every city has like a taste of a festival, so you definitely want to go to that. But even beyond the city that you're living in, try out some of the festivals in some of the other cities, because you're going to get to know a little bit more about those communities if you attend those festivals as well.
And in Central Washington, there's something called the Gorge Amphitheater, and they host major concerts throughout the summer. It is a place to go and check out for sure. A lot of people go in there and they camp over the weekend and have a fantastic time celebrating and just having a great time with their friends.
Yeah, events are something you are not going to have to look hard to find. You can find them in small cities, you can find them in big cities, and like Joe said, you can find them out in the middle of nowhere.
The other thing we recommend that you might want to consider is do touristy thing. I know it sounds kind of cheesy, but honestly, it just helps you love the community that you're in. So if you're in the Seattle area, go up the Space Needle or go to a sporting event. If you're in Spokane, go on the gondola that goes over the falls. It's really beautiful. I know it's not what a lot of locals do all the time, but it does help you get to know the community at a deeper level so that you can appreciate it a little bit more.
It's often surprising to me how many touristy things locals have not done. So you're gonna know more than them if you just get started on doing all of your fun touristy things. And they may seem like a lot of effort, maybe to get up to Seattle or take the road trip to get to the location where the tourist spot is, but they're going to be worth it. And it's gonna be those memories that help you get out of your comfort zone in that first 6 months.
The third mistake we see people make when they move to Washington is a little bit more subtle, but it's missing the cultural integration. And here's what I mean by that. Every region in Washington State has some very nuanced ways of how it came to be and the background of how that city developed or how that region developed. And because of that, each one has its own history that's worth noting and exploring.
There's a very good chance that the culture here in Washington is very different than anything you've ever experienced before. Now, each region, as Joe said, is shaped by its own history, but overall in Washington, we've been shaped by things like Microsoft and Boeing, and we were definitely shaped by the logging industry. We were definitely shaped by all the water that's around us. We were definitely shaped by the pioneers that came out here, and there is so much to know and understand about that. And when you can take all that in, you really will feel like you are part of the community. You're really going to feel like that culture has become a part of you.
So here's a few things that we recommend that you do during that first year is go to the local museum. Now, if you're in the Puget Sound area, you're going to find lots of boat museums, history of Puget Sound, the native community that was here before us and what they did and how they harvested the sea or worked with Puget Sound. You're going to find through the central region of Washington things around the Columbia Gorge and the Columbia River, how it basically splits the state and goes all the way up into Canada. Has so much history to that. And to the other side of the state where it's logging or farming in the plateaus. So many wonderful history museums built around each each one of those regions that I think is worth knowing for sure.
And if you are in the Tacoma area or even want to take a trip to that area, you can go to the Washington State History Museum, and that is going to give you ideas of jumping off points. You're going to learn about the whole state, but then you might be inspired to learn more about the native culture and hear what Chief Seattle had to say and some of his amazing wisdom. I know that it affected us strongly when we read some of the things that he wrote. You also may be inspired to visit something like Old Fort Nisqually, where there was the Hudson Bay Company originally here. That's super fascinating. You may be inspired to go to Boeing's Flight Museum, which is quite incredible. There are so many opportunities to learn about culture and history here that we definitely recommend doing the small ones and doing the big ones.
Another thing that I recommend that people do during their first 12 months is to go to a large local event. Now, each region has some bigger events that you're going to want to be a part of. If you're around the Seattle area and you're a sports fan, go to a Mariners game. Don't become a fan, otherwise you're going to be disappointed. Or go to a Seahawks game or one of the concerts that is at the local Climate Pledge Arena. If you're on the other side of the state, of course, there's the largest 3-on-3 basketball tournament that happens in Spokane, or one of the colleges have sporting events, whatever it might be. From women's volleyball team at UW is fantastic. There's lots and lots to check out in these large sporting events or local large events to get connected to the community. And in those environments, you're going to find a lot of other people who are just like you, like similar interests, and you're able to connect and bond to the area.
The next thing that we recommend that you do in the first 12 months is to go to the other side of the state. Joe referenced some of the differences from one side to the other, but wherever you land, if you're on the Seattle side, go to the eastern side. If you're on the eastern side, come to the western side. Now, I have a personal story related to this. I grew up on the west side for, 18 years. I had never been across Snoqualmie Pass. Now, Snoqualmie Pass is only about 50 minutes outside of Seattle. It's where the mountains are. I had never gone down the other side. And so when I met Joe, he was from the other side of the state in Spokane, and we drove from the Oregon area up the Columbia Gorge. And it was dry, and there were these really tall cliffs. There weren't hardly any trees, and I thought that Washington had betrayed me. It did not look like Washington, and that's because all I knew of Washington was this side of the state. I had no idea how diverse the rest of Washington is. So definitely don't stay right where you're at. Go experience the other side. You're gonna see a giant river, the Columbia River, as Joe said. If you're on the eastern side, get over here and experience all the rain and the green. And if you love the snow, go up into the mountains or go over to Spokane in the winter. There is just so much diversity in our state that is definitely worth spreading out so that you can really get to know the entire state that you have chosen to live in.
We really don't want you to make those mistakes when you move to this area, because Washington State, I think, is truly an amazing state to live in. It has so much diversity, so many beautiful places to explore. You truly could spend a lifetime enjoying it. We hope that you do when you get here. And if you have any more questions about the area and kind of want to decipher what might be the best place for you, feel free to reach out to us on the number below or jump on our calendar and a link in the description below, and we'd be more than happy to discuss what would be the best area for you to be your jump off point to this beautiful state.
Now, if you've enjoyed this video, keep watching, because the next one we are going to tell you why Olympia is Washington's best kept secret.